What? Right, hi. I'm very honored to be here, and honestly, the setup has been a little hectic, but I'm very glad to be here.
Excellent. Yeah. These things happen. For sure, the entire event itself has had some tech issues over the course of it, but we've been resolving things as they happen. But yeah, I'm glad you are here, and it's going to be a great showcase, I'm sure. So I'm ready to watch this. So please take it away.
Right. So, just for clarification, this is the piece of work that has also been a little slightly updated to run on modern hardware, and this is going to be the 10-year championship category, which is there are 10 separate quote-unquote championships, which are just 4 stages back-to-back with varying conditions. And this will be a run in the in-game timing category, because that way, instead of real timing, we can use the records menu, which has both time for each year and an automatically tallied up total, which is right now at a ridiculous time. Specifically, that's why we're using a clean save for it, just so to take care of the timing. Right. Anything else we need to say before we're getting into it?
Not really, no. Just that, yeah. Remember that during this run you can donate towards Mermaids, so please do if you'd like to. But otherwise, yes, please do enjoy the showcase.
Right.
It's gonna be a fun time.
Right. Just be using the. Oh, okay. Setup is always weird because I almost forgot another thing. So let me go back to the start screen and. Because I actually need to put in a code to actually unlock things. So.
Oh yes, that does help.
Okay. At the moment, I'm pretty sure I remember it, but the case. Okay. Okay. Hey. Okay. Wait. Screen. There we go. We have the confirmation sound, and we are now ready to go. I have an actual written list of pace notes in front of me.
Ooh.
We are going for real. Okay, right.
All right. Do you want a countdown or anything, or do you want me to time it or anything?
We'll prepare, and I will give the time for the countdown will, I suppose, start. Again, but this is not RTA, so it's purely ceremonial. We'll be using the Delta 16, the 16 Valve Delta, the earlier Delta, because I don't feel like it gets enough love, and because the red Martino livery is better, and I will fight anyone on it. Because the sound. Up with the sound.
Yep, that's okay.
No, there's the game sound for some reason didn't play. That's yeah. Now it's working. Just yes. We'll be using the arcade 4-speed manual. They are just for the authenticity. And I will be signing as Peppermint Fleck, which is the name I go by. Peppercornyeen is just a very handy handle. The timer will start as soon as we start the first stage.
Okay.
Conveniently, exactly 7 symbols. And you can see that before every stage there is a rundown of which stage it is, the surface, and the weather, which is why I have the pace notes. Specifically so I don't have to actually parse and read it each time, because I just have it written down whether the stock setup is okay or not. And I will explain this in more detail later, specifically what I'm doing here. And we will go full funny for this. And with that, we are ready to go on your count.
All right. Actually, can you count just so it's easier, because then there's no delay on my end.
Okay, in that case, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going.
All right.
Here's the load, and this is year 1, and we're doing effectively. We will be doing effectively 40 stages, because there are 10 years, and each consists of 4 stages. We're on mod tires, so you can see the physics are generally, you know, kind of arcadey, but there is enough credibility to them that feels. It's what I like to say that this is just made to make you feel good. It's realistic enough to make you feel like you're doing something. But it is sharp and responsive, and just not every game can boast that. Right, nowadays. There's a... Right. Fortunately, I don't have my best times, so I won't be able to read like a live delta of whether we are on pace or not. We'll just be going through it like a true rally. Just we're doing as best as we can, and we're going and rolling with it. Okay. L2, A1. Okay, so setup here. I will go into more detail about the car setup a bit later, but as it stands, it's just. This is a very responsive game, and I am playing it on keyboard, which some will find that's for some people weird, but it is an arcade game, and honestly, it fits it well, just as sharp and responsive as it needs to be, because it's not particularly realistic. You pretty much go lock to lock and slide the hole a lot. It's very much the good fun. Well, it is okay. So city section is well. Aisle 2 is one of the stages that will come up multiple times, and it will be annoying each time and this time we're lucky. We're doing it in the clear. There will be rain later. There will be night later. There will be fog later. But it's not the worst that we'll have to deal with. But it... Okay. What else should I cover for now? Tires? You can see that for each year we have a position, because technically we don't need to win each year. We only need to be in the top 3 to unlock the next. But going as fast as possible is usually hands us first. But we have some marathon safety in case if that doesn't work. However, I will hopefully be getting all gold. Usually it's there are a set amount of opponents on each stage you have to overtake, and sometimes there are only so many and if you do one stage particularly bad, you can't really catch that up in other stages. Right there, but we're doing optimal. There are sometimes will be times where we might not do perfect, and there are sometimes times where you have to make up a position. We're still late. And this is the first time where the game gives you dry tires and it's absolutely raining, and this is how the game teaches you that no, you should actually check conditions. We've put on the asphalt wets. On a side note, if you were talking, I do not hear you. You're very quiet.
Oh, do you mean me? Sorry.
Yes, you've been very quiet. I got worried.
Oh yeah,
for a second.
no. I was thinking you continue, but yeah. So just I guess as a question then,
Yeah.
So are the conditions kind of always set, or are they kind of semi-random?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are set, which is why I can have my pace notes, so that I know we're not running real time, but we are in a marathon, in a charity marathon setting, so I'd like to keep unnecessary menuing to a minimum. So
yeah, no, that makes sense.
So yeah, I have this to get the menuing done with a little quicker, and also because we unlock everything, we don't have to watch the unlock cutscene for every car, so that should also speed things up a little faster. I will show you one of the the cutscene one time, the win cutscene, and I'll show you the last one, but we'll be skipping them otherwise. So let's just, yeah, we're coming to an end of year 1, and okay, I will show it once. It is functionally the same every time, and it just. Right, there's the timing for the year. There's the overview of the podium. You see that it's just vertex lighting flashing. I've probably given a flash warning, but again, it works. But yeah, there it is. So we have the record, we have second hand, we're on. We don't have to do the setup again because we have the same car. The game remembers setup if we are going through. Right here, we are. The game puts us on default snow tires. We need the ice tires because this is the ice lake stage, which is quite interesting without ice tires. Because without studs, this one is. You can see that the visibility is kind of limited on it already. This will not be the worst of it because later in the run we will have to do this at night, where visibility will be 0.
Oh goodness.
Yes, we will pretty much. It's just pretty much by memory and by the co-driver. Here, even then, already like the fog is fairly significant, and routing around this car is always kind of hard because the cars on track are slightly randomized in that they're taking generally the same pathing, but you know, there is some variance to how well they're driving it.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, there is some improv you have to do on the fly.
Interesting. Yeah, I can imagine that might be more difficult at night, and especially then when it's kind of in low visibility.
At least you can see them at night. The more difficult part is just that there are some stages that are very narrow, and you have to get some overtakes in early, so you don't have to contend and bump around the other cars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, barely avoided the snowbank. Right, 16, not as fast as it could be, but we take those. Okay. Mountain 2. Okay, this we are. Tires on this. Yes, we're starting in the dirt here, but the important part of this track, there are 2 hairpins which take place on asphalt, so I prefer the asphalt tires on this one. They are. It's interesting because instead of just having a designated "this is the best tire," the game just it's pretty vague about like one or the optimal one. It's just kind of a go figure. Like, here's asphalt ones, and it just describes it as for hard roads, and there's the gravel one, identical but for gravel or asphalt, and it's just kind of on you to try out and see what works better. Again, maybe. Some would say it's just feature bloating it for, like, you know, pad out the runtime and more things to try out, but I think it's fun. Because later in, it definitely... Like, early on, right now, the setup is not very important. You can pretty much blitz through it, although the game already, like, tries to teach you that by... The track 4 of year 1 has rain, but it puts you on standard asphalt tires by default, which... makes the stage a lot harder. So it's not necessary, but it definitely makes your life a lot easier. Okay, again, we have hard rain, and we have asphalt, and we're gonna get asphalt wet. Right, there we go. You can also see that I'm starting in second gear, because yes, it's kind of supposed to be realistic, and gear, you have to use manual gears. But the game kind of assumed, like, from its arcade days, kind of has a bit of a grace in that with the real car, you probably wouldn't be able to start from second gear because, you know, it's just not enough power to do that. In this game, both second and third have a lot more torque than they really should, just to make it easier on people that accidentally, like, shift down or like shift up too early. So we're gonna be abusing that. We're gonna be starting in second just to shift less. It's traction control. It's just primitive traction control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
again,
that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. The aisle 2 again, this time in some rain. Focus on that, getting that correct. It's very much an old school arcade in that, yes, the channeling is shown up and you slide a lot, but any wall contact slow you down significantly. It's not full on like glue walls, but they slow you down significantly, and it very much encourages you to drive clean. Right, that's aisle 2, and now we'll be doing fast forwarding through that. This is a fun one. We're on mud terrain tires, so we're just gonna be driving off the road immediately to get better grip. Because they are a little sliding on asphalt, so we're just immediately driving off the shoulder. At the start, just save a surprising amount of time. Okay. This is one of the times where it's hard to navigate around a AI car. Kind of a narrow 90-degree corner. But yeah, that's what I mean. And when that a lot of it comes from understanding the gears, and that manual is a lot easier in this game than the game might look, because functionally you're only ever using fourth and third. You're only using second for really short hairpins and starting. More often than not, you're just fourth, third. That's it. So, which makes it a lot less. It's a lot less daunting than it. Like right now, I don't need to go down to third because again, the game is being like, maybe it's not realistic, but it's actually a common thing in gaming in that like it's not realistic, but is it helpful to the experience? Yes, it's maybe not realistic to how it works in the real world, but it is, but it helps add. Like, what would be the correct word? It's,
I guess like gameplay feel, kind of like
yeah,
in a sense,
in
like
that it
user
streamlines
experience.
it streamlines it in that it makes for a better game. Realism is not always better for itself. This just streamlines one of the problems. Okay, so we have some rain. We have 70% rain. We're shifting to gravel 3s, gravel wets. They're full on mud tires, but we are not going to be using these here.
Yeah, but I think that is something I've noticed as well. It's been a long time, but I've got these memories of playing these old racing games. I think I did play Sega Rally 1 at some point, I forget which. I don't remember now. But I played that. I also played one. I played a couple of the original kind of Need for Speed. So I played like Need for Speed. I forget, it was one before 2000. I think it actually was Need for Speed
High Stakes
2000. And I think I also played V Rally as well, and that was fun. And I remember just from feeling all very good in terms of like, it didn't feel realistic, but it felt very good to like do the turns.
I've heard one way that people describe this in general in regards to game, not necessarily just racing games, is there are games where you earn your fantasy, and there are games that give you the fantasy. Like, simulators is where you come in and you improve yourself, and that gives you the feeling of, I am the rally driver, I am this amazing hero, I am this whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there are games that give you this fantasy where you come into this game to feel like you are the cool, I can do everything. You come into Sega Rally to feel like a cool, experienced rally driver, not as opposed to like a sim like Dirt Rally or WRC, where you come into it to learn it and persevere and figure that out.
Yeah, I think that's very cool actually. I think it's a good idea. Maybe
I think somebody explained it and applied it to a lot of action adventure games, in that, like, and I've heard this idea of like earn your fantasy versus have your fantasy, because when somebody said like that's the difference with RPGs. RPGs usually are about there's games where you don't have any upgrades and it's just your mastery of the game, earn your fantasy, but where it's something where you're playing as some character, Like, I don't know, we're playing Ask Matman. It's supposed to be giving you the fantasy because he's not supposed to be weak. He's not supposed to be somebody who stumbles and learns. Like, no. You come in to hear this to get your fantasy of being the hero.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of similar to, like, for example, I guess if you play, like, say, like, just an FPS and you see, like, one of the olden, like, I guess, like, the old GoldenEye game, for example.
Yeah.
You know, you expect to be able to aim well and shoot people rather than having to deal with things like, you know, like all these realistic things like, you know, camera shake and stuff, and having to aim very precisely. You know, you expect to have these abilities like, oh, you know, I can, you know, quite easily aim at these people because
the
I'm
more
experienced.
real thing is that if you look at classic FPSs like GoldenEye or so, we will notice that you have a lot more health than all of your enemies do because you're not supposed to be surviving out here. Or like, oh, you're a stealth agent, but you're just pretty much shooting everybody. You're not worried about the realism. You're here to feel like an operative who can take on everybody effortlessly.
Yeah.
Well, not
Exactly.
effortlessly, but yeah. You're here to feel cool.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, I kind of flopped that a little with grabbing on the snowbank a little bit. But I wanted to notice, like, you've seen me do a very interesting thing in setup right now because, yes, this is the snowy stage. You might have noticed that in the weather it says that it is +10, so this is not snow. This is all muddy mush. So we are on mud terrain. And actually, yes, if you actually pay attention to the conditions, you will notice that, yeah, the mud tires actually do better here than snow tires do because this isn't snow.
Interesting. It looks like snow.
Oh, it definitely looks like the sort of mush that happens at this sort of like break over zero. So this is
like kind of slush. Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of slush. Okay, and this is the other like mountain one where in Euromountain I said that I prefer the asphalt tires. Here, there is a challenging section on gravel. So despite a lot of the track being asphalt, we are taking the gravel tires, the gravel asphalt. And that was smooth. Okay, oop. I might be able to point through the town section because this one is a little tricky. And again, this will be another one that is tricky enough as is, but we'll be doing it at night later. And also, you know, there are no lights around this track because this is just some village. This is rallying. This is kind of part of the appeal of rallying, is that this is motorsport is held on regular roads. This isn't a track. This is as close to real conditions as you get in motorsport. And if you look into vintage enough rallying, the cars were close enough to something that you could one day buy and drive. They're not now, but that's a whole other can of worms. But that was one of the parts that sort of, to me, makes rallying a lot more interesting in that those are cars that look a lot more like your daily driver, a lot like more like something that you could experience. Okay, we are entering year 4. And we are yeah. Okay. Right. More or less wait. I have trouble remembering them by the numbers, which I have in the ones. I remember them by their actual routes. I was taking a little moment to actually remember which one is aisle 1. Okay, let's see. And but yes, this is pretty much a game that me and a couple of friends have begun to describe games of this sort of quality of this is pure video games, in that it is not necessarily it's not meant to be realistic simulation. It's realistic enough that you can believe it. Like this looks realistic enough that you feel good at doing it.
Yeah.
It's sort of this sort of level of abstraction that okay. So I don't have that one. Notify. We're getting. Or why is that not marked? But yeah, where it's realistic enough that you can believe that this, believe the challenge of it, because a game needs a degree of it's. I heard somebody use the term believability. It doesn't need to be realistic. It needs to be believable. It's
Yeah, but I think that's sort of too fair, yeah. Because when you get to like super realistic,
ooh,
I think
okay, I messed it up.
ooh.
Big deal. A bit of a time loss. Sorry, you were saying.
No, yeah. I guess I think the way that I feel about it myself is just that when you get to the point where you like super realistic, that kind of really just gets into the genre of like simulation games, which is a lot more like you get like
It is a
Flight
different
Simulator,
kind of
which
fun.
is
It is a
Yeah.
different kind of fun.
exactly yeah. I definitely think there's obviously a time and place for those kinds of games, and I know that people enjoy those quite a lot. I enjoy that kind of stuff sometimes, but there's definitely a good time and place to just be able to just play a game without having to think of all that stuff. Just because we use games as an escape from all that stuff in the real world, right? All the time,
Huh.
which I think is a cool thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a place for both. I think for sure.
And even in genres that are very much about realism, like specific games, it's just a good like thought exercise in is adding this bit of realism adding to the experience or not. Like this is something that I have an issue with modern Masters titles with both WRC and Formula 1 in that they've a lot more team management heavy, and I'm here for my fantasy of being a driver.
Yeah.
Like it is, I suppose, realistic in that I have to do like some like post race interviews and like choose. Like sometimes it's, can I be the driver? Can I just be the driver and get that, have that sorted for me? Times there are just some annoyance. Okay, let's see. Alright, one. Okay, asphalt. Right. This one is just for fun. Is that this Riviera is absolutely based on Monaco and specifically the Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix, which is it sort of mimics the layout even vaguely. Naturally without the hairpin, but other than that, it's pretty much the same sort of running along the very coastline with the docks and then running up through the town. It is, of course, it's never referred to as such, even though the music track is called End of Road Monaco.
Yeah, that makes it explicit, I guess.
I mean, again, it's just a music track, so it's very deniable.
That's true. You've got a point.
I mean, realistically, you could sort of place some of the tracks as realistic-ish rally locations in that, for the time being, the snowy is most likely going to be Sweden, which usually is the place that hosts the winter rallies. This would be Monaco. I'm pretty sure that Muddy is based in Indonesia, which in '98 was on the calendar, but then, due to political things, was no longer on the calendar. Okay, let's see. We're entering year 5. Let's see. Annual. Asphalt. Right. I might actually, now that we have some more or less easy track right now, I might actually talk about the setup menu. So there is a primitive settings setup menu where you can make your suspension of it. You can change whether you're driving automatic or manual, and which is where I'm changing my tires. And there are 2 settings you saw me change, which is the steering response and steering, which just game just called steering, and brakes. Steering is adjust your steering response, which is just the game says, oh, like slower makes it like easier to do drifts, and like faster makes it more like faster. Like yes, but realistically, all it changes how quickly the game rotates to full lock, which in theory, like, oh yeah, it's more twitchy, but there are cases in this game where you have to go lock to lock very fast, so +5 steering it's good to have because it gives you more like better response and some more agility, and honestly, it looks funny. Going lock to lock just in an instant is funny. And the brakes, which I just set slightly more loose because this game doesn't really necessarily have a whole lot of hard braking. A lot of the times you can just lift to get throttle, and like easing it makes it a little. I feel like spots where I have to brake just a little easy, and it doesn't lock up as easily.
Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, please continue.
It might just be me extrapolating how I feel about it. It might not be like that, but you know what? That's the beauty of these. It's very much up to interpretation. You were saying.
Yeah, no, I agree, and yeah, I think one thing I've noticed.
Okay, that's...
Oh goodness.
Yeah, not a big deal. Again,
Yeah.
we'll be making it. It's just that we're losing time off of the potential best round. Right, you were saying. Sorry again.
Yeah. No, this it's totally fine. Yeah. No, I was just going to say as well that I think one thing I've noticed about this game from having been watching you playing, now and also during the review initially as well, was there's obviously a lot of drifting. I'm not sure. Is it so when you are going around the corners? Is it largely that you are kind of drifting with the brakes, or is it that you are just kind of like accelerating around those and it causes the car to drift as a result?
So, strictly speaking, this is all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive doesn't per se drift. Because, well, it's still drifting, kind of, but the thing is about drifting with... Okay, I'm going to go full nerd because automotive stuff is my hyperfixation, but... The idea behind drifting is that you can control your front with your steering, you can control your rear rotation by using the throttle. If you're in an all-wheel drive car, you can't control your rear separately. So you can drift, you can initiate a drift, you can start sliding. You can't really control it much. You're sending it in, it's just sent, sealed, and hopefully delivered. You can, like, that's the joke with explaining drivetrain types to new drivers, is that in rear-wheel drive, if you're sliding, you ease off the throttle, and the car will rein itself in. In front-wheel drive, you step on the throttle, and the car will pull itself out. In four-wheel drive, if you send it, you are, from this point on, well, not exactly a passenger, but you might as well be.
Yeah.
Like, you're just praying that you did it correctly. There is some input in that, like, more throttle, you will slide further, but generally speaking, that's... we're sliding here mostly because there isn't really enough grip to actually properly take this. This is aisle 3. Right, realistically in this game, it will sort of gently pull you, like, staying on throttle will gently pull you out of a drift. Like, you can see it still has some centering, but I'm usually manually getting out of this. Because this game just has responsive enough handling to do that. Because I can just send it in like that. Which is...
Yeah.
It's... Ooh, okay, oh... Little overcooked.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, probably might have to ease on a little on the commentary. Because aisle 3 is a notoriously difficult track, and it shows up multiple times in the following years. And some of those times it shows up in rain to make it worse.
Yeah, no, please do.
And one of those times is actually, which is the most frighteningly, it shows up in the final year 10.
Ooh,
which,
okay.
and it is the final track of year 10.
Yeah, oh goodness.
Interestingly, so technically there are only like 40 tracks. However, in year 10 there is a bonus track. If you finish year 10 in first place, there is a super special. It does not count for time, Also, we are now at the halfway point. We cleared year 5.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Travel. It does not count towards overall time, but it is a bonus stage that you do if you win year 10, which hopefully we'll get to do. It is done on a super special, which I'll explain what that is when that happens. And we'll see how I do at that. We're not required to win the super special, because again, it does not contribute to the like by that time you have already won year 10. The run is over. But it is a fun little extra, and it's how you unlock the final car, the Lancia 37.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Right. Okay. Oof. I can. Yes. Now it's better. Okay. Right. Yeah. As far as drifting goes, this game actually is kind of interesting in that you can very much tell it's an arcade because it. Oh, again. Tell that this is mostly cleared asphalt roads, so we're taking asphalt snowy tires. Right. Because you will notice that whenever I'm sliding, the game actually has a physical sort of cap to how far your car can rotate. You can't spin out in this game, per se. You could see that there is a maximum angle that the car can take, and I am leaning on it whenever I can to just take the tightest radius I can. It's not as noticeable here because this track is sort of tight. You'll notice, like here, you can see I can't rotate any further.
Oh, interesting.
Which, yeah, so it kind of encourages you to be a little more bold, because you can go lock to lock and nothing will happen much. Like you're not going to spin out, you're not going to... It's all in service of making you feel cool.
Yeah, that does seem it seems quite nice as a thing of, this is something you can do, but, you can't mess it up too much in terms of,
there is plenty other things you can mess up, so yeah, we're just gonna...
Okay,
the game just kind of give it like listen, worry about your I'm trying to recall a quote, and also I'm actually going to try to focus on this because I remember this is aisle 2 at night, which is theoretically this is something I can take at full speed if I enter the corners correctly, but I have to pretty much do it below, next to behind. Okay.
I was gonna say, are you good if do you want to focus, or are you good if I make an announcement quickly as well?
If you want to make an announcement, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm just going to mention as well for everyone joining us recently, we are once again raising money in aid of Mermaids, a UK charity who benefit basically trans, non-binary and gender diverse youth and their families, providing support to them via kind of online forums, local community groups, as well as providing them with a helpline in case we need any help. So yeah, and basically providing lots of support in various different ways. So if you would like to donate towards them, please do type !donate in chat and send your donations in through Totify. But yeah, back to you. Feel free.
Wonderful, and I just had one of the cleanest All2 in brain I could
Very
have done,
nice.
so I'm pretty happy with that. And now we're going to another infamous track that we'll be seeing more of a bunch, Desert 3, which is my friend Moku's absolute bane. I love it because it's how you design a proper challenging track, because there are a lot of places you really need to set up for early and take very cautiously. Like this part, which you can there's a lot of back and forth. Then there are a lot of narrow sections where you should have to navigate around other cars. Okay, I'm gonna stay in third for this, and hopefully, nope, wall bonk. Little overcooked. Right, still, we're good. Not See, this one very much is, it's narrow. There are a lot of corners that tighten. It is a lot of deceptive stuff here. And honestly, it is a hard track, but I like it because it's not an unfair track. It's just it's a very demanding track.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're done with this sort of technical part of it. And okay, we're right. Ooh, that's year 6. Okay.
Excellent.
And we're going right into another. Wait, no. Actually, yes, this is another. It's just there are a few. No, yeah, that is year 7. Okay. It's gonna be another one that I might have to focus on a little more because we are about to do the Ice League at night. I think that's the Ice League. Yes, it is. Right, I'm gonna focus for that one. Okay. You could see that the game, like, this is 998. The headlights are not projected. It is vertex lighting. You can once again see how they pop up in front of the car, just lighting up the area of the It's not in front of it's just lighting up the level in front of the car.
Yeah,
You could see how every individual light nodes pop in and out, right? If you look right close to the car. They're blended well. Yeah. They're blended rather well when they're far away, but they are much more noticeable the closer they get. But again, it's still a very good and cheap rendering trick for the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because because it still gives you a somewhat dynamic lighting for 1998.
Yeah, I mean, this game
on a home PC no less.
Yeah, like this. I was going to say as well. Like this game, honestly, doesn't look too bad for the time.
Yeah. Again, I would say that this is another case of art direction trumps art fidelity, because the models are a little chunky, but also this was not the best 120. This should ideally be a 115. Okay, let's see. We are at I was saying, so this is very much a case of art direction will keep your game eternal. Art fidelity will make your game look for a couple years. Art direction will keep your game looking great forever.
Yeah.
Because this is actually a thing that I've actually been in it's that again this upscale. This is running at higher twice upscaled in that this is 640, which was rendered exactly at twice to get pixel perfect scaling. And look, the modeling is sharp, the effects are there, and it still looks very coherent for its time. Very coherent. Mm-hmm. It's a very coherent vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting because recently there's a game that's come out, Old School Rally, which is a very interesting project, but whenever I saw it, my response was, I know this game is already out, it's called Cormac Rally 2.0, and it came out in the year 2000. And it very much is kind of the same, and it looks just as good, if not better, and simply because, now that with a patch that lets you run a high resolution, the modeling is there, the texturing, the texturing jump is done well to give that faked details, and the art direction is there to keep it timeless. Art direction doesn't age as much. There's definitely elements that you would call of their time, but even then they age a lot more gracefully than art fidelity stuff of the time, like the brown filter or having to have everything dirty or having to have everything reflective.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some games that are kind of like that feel very timeless in a sense. Like kind of ironically, obviously, this is very very different genre to what we're playing here, obviously.
Yeah.
But the game Team Fortress 2.
Oh, of
which
course.
is,
Team Fortress 2 is like one of the poster
like-
childs for like our direction is timeless.
Yeah, like when you kind of look more deeply into that game in terms of like below the surface and you look at kind of like the way the engine works, it's definitely a product of 2 decades ago, which is basically when it came out. But
Even-
when you look at when you're actually playing it and stuff, the art style and stuff and the way that
even
it
if you look
generally
at the
feels.
more less art stuff and more like the way the UI is designed, it shows its age in the way that it's, and I think in a good way, in that its UI is very much linear. And but the point is, it's like there are a lot more. You mentioned GoldenEye. GoldenEye has, again, it's very much a product of its time. It's not necessarily good, but again, it's timeless. It is timeless despite it very much lacking fidelity, the modern fidelity.
Yeah. No, there's a reason that people have really been kind of asking for, and and also when they've come out, enjoying them. Pixel remasters of things like. There's a reason that Square Enix decided to remaster all of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games, because these were really loved, and especially Final Fantasy VI was a game with pretty timeless graphics, honestly, and playing the pixel remaster, it doesn't look that different to the original. It's been kind of it's been remastered essentially. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff from ages and ages ago that definitely does feel very
and it's the interesting part. People say like it doesn't even remaster. What's the point of the remaster? It looks the same. Like, no, the point is it's timeless, but it could really use some modern quality of life to be able, so that you are able to enjoy its timelessness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Example: Sega Rally 2. It's an excellent game, which I think holds up to this day. But it's even with the modern, quote unquote, sort of the portable version of it, which should run out of the box on Windows 9 and 10. 9 and 10, 7 and 10. It is very much does not run out of the box for a lot of people, based on some random variables that I can't track down. It's, again, this is a game that it's interesting. Somebody said that often enough the games that get the games that need remasters the most are usually the ones that are hardest to remaster, because there is very few things you can resalvage, because if you're redoing old enough games that desperately need that modern quality of life to. That's okay. We are entering year 8.
Ooh, okay.
I'm very glad with happy with my performance. That city usually very tough. Okay, 1. Okay, this is gonna be another one. I might have to focus.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, 1 and. This is the same one in the rain. Oh. Now we're going to be going through the same... Oh, no! Oh, it is! Okay, it's not. I keep mixing up aisle 1 and 3, which are both difficult, but for different reasons. I'm going to talk for this one.
So yeah, I was going to say, quick notice as well for everyone. What was I going to say? Yeah, we do still have the sensors open, by the way, if you are thinking of donating. So if you do go to the Spotify page, we have a target open right now, which is, let me just check that. Yeah, the target right now is our final target for the event, and that's going to be big head mode for Tunic. So if we do manage to beat that target by the end of the event on the end of Monday, then both of us, myself and TGH, will play Tunic when we do the rando in big head mode. So that incentive will close during the event, during that showcase. So you can kind of keep donating until the last point and make us do big head mode midway through if you want as well. So please do donate towards that target if you'd like to see that.
Right.
Large noggin, people are saying in chat. Excellent, thank you. in addition to that, the poll that we've got open right now has raised £205 towards that, which is incredible, and that's towards
Wow.
the Carrion main character core. I don't know the exact figures for now, but I think, right now I think the Xenon core is still winning. Yes, it is. It's winning at £130 towards that, so that's picking the main character core for Carrion tonight when we do the horror block. That'll be in just a few hours from now, so don't miss that. That'll be fun, I'm sure.
Okay. Right,
Goodness.
so now we're going to... No, wait, 2, yeah, okay. Or... Normal sometimes. Yes. I have a little scratched out note on this one, so I was a little... Usually this is a stage where you can just take the asphalt snow tires, but no, it's snowing heavily. So no, also it is stormy night. He slowed down a whole lot there, but we'll just chalk it up to marathon safety.
Yeah.
We're already lost like 15 seconds if the theoretical optimal, but it's just I'm not consistent enough to be like this precise with like predicting my time, but I'm hoping I can beat my personal best. So at least that. Right. Oh, and now we're going to do something else fun. We're going to do Desert 3 again, and now we're going to do it in the rain. Again, let's see if I do it better this time. Again, one of the more challenging. One of the things I actually want to point out, because this stage, you can really see it with all the braking and jumps, is I love how animated the tachometer is on this one, because they could have just set it to the internal, like what's the engine rotating at, but they decided to model it so it looks like an actual analog tach. It's a needle that bounces and it sort of moves about with how the engine moves. It makes it a lot more less digital and a lot more like, I don't know, for me it adds a lot to the immersion of this is a machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see, and interestingly, this game does something I absolutely adore, and the gauge is actually unique to each car, and it's modeled vaguely after each car's respective tachometer.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah,
actually.
if we will have time, and I will have time to do the arcade showcase, which is gonna be like 5 minutes if we get ahead of schedule, which we are not, because I'm always spelling that I'm already at the time where I should have been scheduled to finish had we started at the proper time. But hey, we'll see if the next setup person needs more time. So there we go. That is the end of year 8. And I have 9, 10, and possibly the super special.
Ah, excellent.
Okay, yeah, we are on track, and 9. So there's just a lot of small. That is once again what I'm talking about. Is that I love this game for all these little needless details that are just there for the vibe of it. Like, this is a video game. This is video games as video games get. And I don't have to explain that. I feel like that is really understandable.
Yeah, I think games from this kind of era. I think some games still do to this extent, but I think games from this era, especially, a lot of them ended up kind of having these nicely designed, kind of very simple, but
it's larger than life. It's not meant to be. it's again, is this realistic reality? No, you absolutely have more grip than you should. You absolutely are like held in, but this is a larger than life experience. This is,
Yeah.
okay. This is gonna be funny because at one point I went to a friend to explain art theory and how this applies to this, because this is not realism. This is impressionism. I don't care about whether this accurately represents. Wait, no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't care if this something accurately represents the reality of how it is to be a rally driver out on a stage. No, I care about what is the feeling, what is the impression of it, and this game gives me that impression. Is it realistic? Not necessarily. That wasn't okay. I'm gonna go on the other hyperextension with art history. And go on a limb and say, like, that's the idea behind impressionism, is that, yes, it is technically less photorealistic, but here's the thing, you don't see all these details with your eyes. With your eyes, you just see colors and shapes. And it is very much focused on capturing the feeling and the impression. And this is it. And this is that in terms of experiences. This is not capturing the reality of it. It is capturing the experience.
Yeah. I think, that's an interesting way of looking at it, actually, because I think I agree with that, because in a lot of games, what I've noticed, I think thinking about it, I guess, it does feel like a lot of games kind of almost, they're not really showing you like a glimpse of what something is actually like. I suppose they're more just showing you a kind of glimpse of what the creator of the game.
How cool would it be?
Kind of, basically like this is how for example a game about flying, like not Flight Simulator, but let's take like a game about flying, but I can't think
Crimson
of it
Sky. I will absolutely give you an example of a flight game. Crimson Skies.
Yeah, excellent.
That game, they specifically said like it's realistic enough to believe so that you can believe that you are being a complete ace. But here's the thing, this is a game where you're not supposed to worry about at what airspeed you will stall. No, this is a game where you focus on the barnstorming and doing crazy, extremely close stunts. This is supposed to be Pulp Fiction. This is supposed to be your fantasy. You're not supposed to worry about the details of it. You're supposed to be worried about how cool you are pulling off that cool thing.
Yeah. It's like a slice of kind of like a fantasy impression of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's funny because Crimson Skies literally frames itself as, the spicy ear novels. The ear stories, yes. It's larger than life. It's, again, another example I used in the Impressionism bit of the same era of Sega Racing is Daytona USA. Is it realistic to stock car racing? No, I'm pretty sure no stock cars ever have a banking of like 45 degrees and go up slopes that are as hard. No. Neither do they drift. But it gives you the same rush. Are those tracks realistic? No, but it makes for a more interesting game. It makes for a more interesting experience. It gives you that feeling.
I do have to... Oh, sorry, continue. No, go on.
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay. I was just going to say as well, like, one thing that's definitely desirable with these kinds of games as well is the loading time. Like, you don't get a 1 second loading time on modern games usually, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's just super, super fast.
And that's the other part, that with games that are this mechanically hard, this game is harder than it looks because, again, it is very responsive and wall collisions take a long time, if you are, unlike actual arcades where it's gonna eat your quarters, as soon as you're making this sort of arcade gameplay, which is very responsive but also very demanding, please developers, make it quick to reset so that I can try again. The faster I can try again, the less frustrated I am at having to try again.
Oh, goodness.
Because... actually, when I start the next year, I will literally be starting to show you how quickly this game restarts. If at any point, I will take the 5 seconds or whatever. We don't care. We are doing this for charity. We're doing this for funsies.
speaking of charity, may I make a quick notice as
Bro,
well?
go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of charity, I will use that segue to mention again that we are raising money in aid of Mermaids, and they are the charity we're raising money in aid of for the past 4 years now. This is our 4th year doing the event, so if you'd like to learn more about Mermaids, please do follow the link in the link. Please do follow the link in chat. Excuse me. Follow the link in the link towards their website, and you can find out more about what they do. But in short, they do provide support to trans, non-binary and gender diverse youth and their families. So yeah, please check them out, and please, again, if you're able to do so, please donate towards them using the donate link.
Right. Start this.
Yep, go ahead.
That's it. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember if you change your tires, so I'm lucky here that I don't have to change them. But other than that, like, this is, if you're doing the arcade mode, which doesn't have like tire selection and all that stuff, this is literally like you press that button, you go again in less than a second.
Yeah, that's
For games that require this a lot of practice and, you know, just having to figure it out, this is absolutely essential to like the experience. Make it easy for players to fail, make it easy for players to try again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, these games require you to fail to learn. It doesn't have to be punishment. It doesn't have to be suffering. Okay, I was hoping I could go for the stylish little bonk there, but we'll see if I do it again. I think it. Oh no, this is year 10. That's last time we doing these.
Oh, is this year 10?
This is year 10. We have done.
Okay.
We have 3 more stages to go. We have
Okay.
Monday 2, Desert 3, and Isle 3, and then
Okay.
possibly the super special. And then maybe if we have time, and we can do the arcade mode showcase, which is just the actual arcade experience of just 4 races back to back, no setup, no nothing. It's just okay, go ahead. Which is just hop in and do it. No fluff.
I think looking at the time, we may not have enough time for that extra
that's fair.
showcase, unfortunately.
That's fair.
Because we are
I
slightly
will leave
behind,
it as an exercise to the viewer, because try out this game. It is. I have to add that because this game is abandonware and it is no longer sold anywhere. It is officially abandonware, and as such, it is available on the internet. This portable version that runs on modern hardware is available in the Internet Archive. It's a ready
Okay.
out-of-the-box experience. It has issues on some modern like configurations. I'm not sure exactly what is it, because I haven't been able to troubleshoot for some friends, but this is like a 500 megabyte install. Treat yourself to it. If it runs out of the box, treat yourself. This is a wonderful racing game that you don't need to be good at racing. You don't need to be a rally expert. No, this is just something to treat yourself to it. Give it a go. And okay, that's Muddy 2. We have 2 more tracks to go. That's Desert 3, and this is the final appearance of Desert 3. If I can do it faster this time. Right, let's see. Okay. Whoop. Okay, we take those. That's close enough. Whoop. The collisions in this game with the other cars are very jank. So I'm trying to avoid those as much as I can, because there is some sort of a system, like if you're crashing into their car, the game speeds you up when you're no longer crashing into them, which is supposed to be like so it's not as frustrating, but honestly it's just a little unpredictable and a little weird. So it's easier to do the optimal thing, which is to not crash.
Oh yeah, no.
Which is generally preferable in rally.
It's generally preferably. Excuse me. It's generally preferable just in any situation not to crash, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, and ooh. a little wide, and right. We're going into our final track of year 10, at which we'll decide if we are doing the super special or not. Right, and this is 3. We have hard rain, and we have a very tough track. Hard enough without rain. I'm gonna be a little quiet for this one. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but who knows? I've choked some runs onto this, especially when I was just learning this game.
Good luck. You got this.
Right? Right, let's. Oh. Good enough. Okay, again, weird because of the placement of the other cars, but we take those.
Also, if you are coming up in time, let me know when time happens as well.
We will be coming on time. Strictly speaking, the time will end when this stage ends, and
Okay.
but we will be doing the super special if we win.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's one car to overtake, and I should have the speed. We'll see if I do. And 3, 2, 1. That's time.
Oh, right, okay.
I probably should have given you a little more warning, but yes,
No,
congratulations.
that's absolutely fine.
And
GG's.
try super special stage. Yes, this
Yeah.
is, and I've said I will explain this. This is the super special stage. Usually the stages you race on in rallies are called special stages because it's just a section of road that we decide that, yeah, we're going to use it as a racing stage. This is called a super special, which was the sort of an idea in the 90s of like, okay, but how do we make rallying easier to watch? Because usually it's just like you have to go way out in the country, stand at a corner in whatever weather, and like hope a car passes by. This is done in a special stadium which has 2 tracks that sort of cross over, so you're never directly racing each other, you're in 2 lanes separate from each other, but you see both cars at the same time, vaguely close to each other. So it's kind of like rallying, but it's kind of a head-to-head. And with that, we'll be starting this. We're doing it against another car, which just rockets off because this is an arcade game. We need to have a rival for the finale. Which is the Lancia 37, which we will unlock, which is... historically, the Lancia 37 is the last 2-wheel drive car to ever win the World Rally Championship. This is pretty much... which I believe was 1983. But yes, we are doing 2 laps of this. We're doing both lanes, so technically it will look like 4 laps because we have to do both sides. But you can see this is sort of a stadium, but you can see how huge it is. This is in no way fitting inside any stadium, but this works as a special stage and a reward finale. This is your final, showdown. Again, is this realistic? No. Does this feel extra because the game never gives you any sort of indication that there is something more in the end? No. But this is such a way to... Okay, we're starting final loop. And I will let the final cutscene play out after we finish this, and just because I have placed because we will both need to actually check the records to see how we've done in our time-wise, and we will need to see, and just because I've placed the actual game sound, the music file from the arcade version also. Yeah, we actually were so far ahead that they did not finish in time.
Ooh.
The other car. Usually it is a lot closer when you're starting this out because this Lancia 37 is absolutely cracked and does not follow the conventional laws of physics because it's supposed to be a final challenge. There is a reason that it was the final time a 2-wheel drive car ever took, but they needed a final challenge. There you go. There's your little celebratory bit.
GG's.
Yeah.
That was very good.
And here
Very good
is an
gameplay.
overview of the final year 10, which goes through the title. And it is not, unfortunately, playing the arcade mode music I've placed. But, okay, that's okay. Because I really wanted this to play My Dear Friend Rally, but we'll take that. Unfortunate.
Yeah, oh, sorry, go on.
No, unfortunate, because I originally placed in the game files the My Dear Friend Rally, which I feel is a very touching finale song from the original arcade variants of the game, which is unfortunately in this home port it is replaced.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Theoretical, God, I would love to put it on for this, but oh well. Here it gives you the full. In that case, we're gonna skip this and actually go look at our time, final time.
Oh, yeah. Do you want your
because this
RTA
is-
time, by the way? Or...
Yeah, because this is rallying, and it is not your placement at the finish line that matters, it is your total time.
Yeah.
And our
So-
total time is, total 10 years is 44 minutes, 59 seconds, which is, I am not sure, I'm not sure if this is beats my record. This does beat my record, and this is currently,
oh my
because
goodness.
because better yet, because I hold the world record, this is a new world record.
Oh my god, okay.
Because
That's
it's mostly
excellent.
because people do not run any championship, but I will take this. This is a new world
Yeah.
record for charity.
That is, yeah, that's a new world record. So you've seen it here, everyone. That was a new world record just set now on Sega Rally,
Yes.
Sega Rally 2 Championship, 10-year championship by peppercornyeen. Thank you so much for that showcase. That
And
was
thank you so much
that was
for
super interesting.
And thank you so much for having me here, Ori. It's been a
of course,
pleasure. And I'm sorry the setup took a little longer than intended, but we
That's
got
totally
here.
fine.
That's the
Yeah,
spirit of
yeah.
rally. Just roll with the punches and keep going.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. No, absolutely. But yeah, thank you once again. So we are going to, we're going to say goodbye to Pepper now, and we're going to move on. After a quick break, we're going to move on to our next event, which was going to be, if we open the schedule up, it's going to be our Hundo Canyon in SRB2. So we're bringing Argic back onto the show again for the second time, I think. Yeah, second time on the show, and we're going to go and do that with myself and Argic. So we're doing that in just 5-10 minutes at most, so don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back with you shortly. Until then, thank you again, everyone, and we'll